As John Cena nears his final match, it's impossible not to reflect upon a truly historic pro wrestling story. For an entire decade, Cena was unrivaled as the face of WWE, since adding to his legacy as an increasingly absent living legend. This year, though, that's been a little different, as Cena has toured the globe for his already infamous retirement campaign. Before inevitably we celebrate his iconic career, though, I thought it would make sense to tackle this tour's best and worst, once and for all. Well, Adonis, I know you're fast approaching your trip to MSG, one last time seeing Cena live, and we should note before we go any further, the best may still be yet to come, right, for John Cena's retirement tour. There's a chance, right? There's some big dates still awaiting him. Not many at this point, but still some big stuff. So this list could look different if we did it in a month's time. We're getting a little ahead of it here. I wanted you to start with some positivity, and that would make sense for who you are and what you're approaching this, the mindset you're approaching this with. With that in mind, what would be your fifth best thing about Cena's retirement tour?
Well, Mr. Joe Holbert, at number 5, I'm going to go with appropriately his T-shirts. Now, this is a really niche thing. However, historically speaking, John Cena has not had the greatest T-shirt hit rate, unfortunately. But this year, I thought was really cool is that every T-shirt was specific to the town he was in. So, for example, when he went to San Antonio, he had the Spurs logo, the Spurs gear for his T-shirt, which I thought was really cool. For New Jersey, he had the Jets and Giants, which suck because I don't watch football, but I thought that the colors were both good. I have both those shirts behind me and the towels. So I thought it was a really neat touch because it also ties into his introduction where it talks about how gracing or celebrating with. And so it made it feel like the crowd was a part of his retirement tour while also giving some life to at times would be a very dark presentation, obviously, with the blackout Tron and all that stuff. And so I thought it was just really cool. If I could, I would collect all the shirts. Unfortunately, I don't get paid enough to do that, but I thought that the shirts are really cool. And so that would be my number 5.
I like that pick. It did not even cross my mind, but it makes sense it would cross yours because, of course, it would. But, like, I actually do like the pick. That was a cool thing that I kind of took for granted. You're right. They did keep it fresh and they made it distinct for each market. And it was a big part of this was the idea of a world tour, right? So some of the European spots, they got some really cool shirts. So I like that a lot. I will match that with something that you actually referenced as my 5th best thing. I don't have a ton of positive things to say about the heel run. I loved the entrance. The way he would walk with the, like, I thought that was terrific. It bled over somewhat into his matches when he would slow down his comeback and do it as a heel. I thought it was cool. But generally, to me, my favorite part of him being a heel was the entrance. And while he could be a little bit cartoonish at times, I did like his demeanor when he was like very sort of militant, almost soldier-like, early on particularly. Mm-hmm. It came and went, but I always thought the presentation, if nothing else, was really cool. So we're starting our top 5s in very funny ways, which I think does speak a little bit to how weird the year has been. But what did you make of the heel entrance? I'm intrigued.
So, Joe, that actually is my number 4 on the best things for John Cena. His presentation, I thought it was so fucking cool because the way that I interpreted it, right, was there was all this talk in the lead up to WrestleMania that he was going to have this big special entrance, right? It's his last WrestleMania, and he gave him nothing. He just gave them nothing. And I thought it was so cool because when he would put the towel behind his head and he'd leave Stu behind, which is, I think, a very underrated part of the presentation, that he never talked to Stu until he turned babyface, which became part of his entrance. Shout out Stu, which I just learned how to spell his name, by the way. But I thought what was really cool symbolism about the towel was the fact that it was almost in a way of like telling people like, hey, as a heel, I'm leaving you guys behind. Like, you guys are in the rear view mirror. You guys know that this is it. You're never going to see me again. And I never want to have to see you again. And I thought that the whiteout with his name, I thought that when he was the champion and his like nameplate where it was just in the most basic font ever, I thought that was really cool. I thought, to your point, Joe, about the way it bled into his in-ring work, I thought the fact that he legitimately just stood there emotionless, lifeless, I thought it fit the type of character he was going for. At times it could get a little animated, like you said, but it did match what he was going for in the sense of, I've given you guys everything for 25 years, and now that I have nothing to give you, like I don't have to do this, I'm just going to give you nothing and do my thing. I thought the entrance was really cool. That would have been my number 4. So we're in agreement.
This is a nice start, which means it's the right time for us to look on the negative side of things. I'll kick us off on that front. It feels like the right thing to do. My 5th worst thing about Cena's 2025 is something that I conceptually agree with, but I thought the execution was outrageous, and that was the babyface turn. I think the evidence since has clearly confirmed it was time for John Cena to be a hero again.
Yes.
We'll talk more, obviously, about the decision to make him not be a hero, but that was clear. I agree with that idea. I co-sign it. It led to better stuff for John Cena, which we'll get to, but there has to have been something better than him basically just being like, this has been a terrible idea, guys. I'm sorry. I'm my bad. Let's get back to being John Cena. Like, on some level, admittedly a pretty low level, I respect how, like, upfront it was with it being, like, it was like, we got nothing, let's just turn him babyface. But man, this is one of the most celebrated characters in wrestling history, and the best you had for his return to glory and victory and heroism was, he's kind of just, he realized it was a bad idea. Like, and the thing that's even more puzzling is, if they just waited till SummerSlam, they could have done the whole thing of, like, it was an honorable thing, like he fought his best and he couldn't do it. They never did that. He just turned him the night before and said, let's get to it, or the Friday before. So that's my 5th worst. Again, conceptually correct, but, like, I don't know, man. I feel like there has to be a better way to do it. What do you think?
Quickly to touch on that, I think it's funny that you bring that up because I was there for that promo. And, like, the funniest thing was the people around me. So I went alone, and the people around me were like, so is he going to, like, kick him in the nuts on Sunday and retain the belt? Like, everyone's immediate thought was this is a fake out because it's like, because then, honestly, Joe, and I don't think you brought this up, the thing that's actually the most puzzling about is that him and Cody toast at the end of the segment. They toast.
That's right. Yeah.
They share a beer, and Cody just goes, "Welcome back, John Cena," and he leaves. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, he's a babyface. Yeah. And Joe, to your point, in the ending of the SummerSlam match, Cody does the whole salute thing when John's like leaning on the ropes, like trying to get him. You could have made that the babyface turn, where John's just like he's like old Yellow. He's like, you got to put me out, dude. It's been a good.
Yeah.
I like that you brought that up. That would not have been my number 5, but I like that you brought that up.
Well, I'm intrigued. What was your number 5 on the worst side of things? I'm intrigued.
So my number 5, this is a very niche thing. I don't know if people are going to remember this. So when John Cena wrestled R-Truth on Saturday Night's Main Event, I'm not going to bring up the match. There was a segment backstage with John Cena and main event Jey Uso. Okay?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
John Cena, folks, decided that it was a good idea to voice act in real life. He thought that he had been cast in like a Disney 2001 like anime. His voice, he just goes, it'd be a real shame if the world title went on a YouTube.
That championship is around the waist of a YouTuber.
And he's like delivering this to me like he's like a cooking instructor on a YouTube video. Like, it's the most bizarre thing in the and Jey Uso, I don't think Jey Uso says anything in response. I think he just looks at John, because John does a thing where he like faces him up like this. He's like, it'd be a real and he's like looking at him all I'm like, and notorious, I think John Cena is a hell of a talker, but I sat there, Joe, in my break room at work in total bewilderment to the point where I audibly said, what the fuck is this? And there was only one other person in the break room with me, and they go, what are you watching? And I go, oh, it's nothing. I legitimately could not believe my ears. I was baffled. I thought it was so bad. And when we talked about the animation of his heel run, this is where the problems lie. He got a little too cute. He got a little too into it, which in a way you kind of have to respect that. He was very committed. Unfortunately, commitment should not equate talking like you were in the 2015 Fantastic Four movie, like what the
that's
terrible. I implore people to look this segment. Legitimately, it's that bad. I implore you to look it up. Horrible. That's my number 5.
I remember the segment. It's not on my list, and the thing I'm about to say is not on my list either, but this is something that has been an issue for me with John in recent years. This segment was an extreme example of it, but there is a kind of inherent sense at times that John Cena when he returns to wrestling, he plays John Cena. It's a very hard thing to explain, but what I mean is, sometimes you get the sense that he sort of goes, I've got to be the John Cena that they want me to be, and he sort of is, he's like a man pretending to be John Cena. Now, this isn't what you described there, but it is an example of, sometimes he comes off like he's a cyborg who's been trained to portray John Cena on television. That segment was like the cyborg had got the wrong instructions, or the batteries had gone low. I don't know. Something happened. Because unless I'm mistaken, he was never like that again.
Negative.
Yeah, he was never like that again.
He never did it again. Nope. It was a one and done.
All right, well, there you go.
I want to be I want to be on a fly on the wall with that red light turned off.
Yes, Jey Uso just says yeet. So my fourth top moment here, best moment, because you obviously we had a crossover on our prior ones.
Yes.
Yes. Is the AJ Styles match, which I'm sure we'll be talking about here for an extended spell. Are we on the same page here, Adonis? Is that what we're looking at?
I think for this one, we're going to keep it to just yours because mine is more broader than just this match. So we'll keep it to just you for this one.
All right, I dig it.
Because we were on the Grinalong for this.
We were, which was a wonderful time. I think this is a great example of context matters. I'll be completely transparent. There are very few contexts in which I'm rushing to see guys just do 15 minutes of other people's moves. However, if ever there was a time to do it, I appreciate what this was, because it wasn't subtle in this regard. It was basically, this is the end of that particular era. AJ Styles represented one side of American wrestling, and John Cena represented the other. Now, obviously, there are other people that make up huge parts of that, but in a very broad way, that is a fair way to describe what was mid-2000s through mid-2010s pro wrestling in the States, right? That's a very fair way to describe it.
Yes.
AJ on one
1000%.
side of the fence, Cena on the other. The Fame magazine cover that they both played into with the gear.
Yes.
They chose to have a match that took that concept, that idea, and basically brought it to life as an entire, like, kind of tribute to everything that wrestling had been in that time frame. And obviously the TNA guys getting call-outs and some of Cena's famed rivals getting call-outs, which is something he'd done with prior matches, but it hits way different when it's another guy who's at the end of their career. Yes. It's another guy who's basically mirrored him in terms of years, but has lived a completely different wrestling life to him. And it had an incredible atmosphere in Australia. I thought the match was a really charming, really, really moving piece of business. Of course, the Bray Wyatt moment in particular stands out. So I really like the match. I remember watching it with you and being very aware that I liked it a lot, but not quite as much as you. So I'm intrigued where it stands on your side of things as we get to it. With that in mind, Adonis, what's your fourth worst John Cena thing?
So my fourth worst is going to be the actual spacing of his 36 dates. Now, I think inherently you look at the 36 dates, and you have to remember there's only 52 weeks in a year. So 36 is actually a pretty big number. So that's not my issue. Guys, John Cena has no appearances in between Survivor Series and his last match. Not a single one. He is going to do whatever he's going to do at Survivor Series, and the next time you're going to see him is the last time you're going to see him, no pun intended, legitimately. And I think that is an incredible malpractice for a specific reason. Contrary to everything I just said for the last thing, John Cena is a hell of a talker in the sense of he can sell you matches. Now, I don't necessarily believe that you have to be sold on the idea of watching John Cena wrestle for the last time. However, there is something to be said for, let's operate under the assumption that his opponent is going to be Gunther, okay? That Gunther is going to be the guy that's going to retire John Cena. There is something to be said for Gunther's presentation being, I'm going to put this old man out to pasture, and John Cena having one last fiery promo saying, you may be the guy that's going to put me out, but you're not going to put me out without a fight. And I think the fact that we're not going to get that is an incredible misuse of one of John Cena's greatest strengths as a talent. On top of that, there are stretches where, Joe, we just mentioned the Crown Jewel Grinalong. That was on October 11th. John Cena's next appearance after that show was this, at the time of this recording, 2 days ago on November 10th. That is nearly a month in between the last time we saw John Cena and the next time we've seen John Cena. I think that there is something to be said for, we'll talk about the execution of things later on, I'm sure, but at least I will. One of the things is it could have been better received if there was more time to be had with John Cena. I felt like they completely when they mapped, I don't know when they mapped this out. I don't know if they mapped it out right after he announced it or maybe before, whatever. They did not map this out properly. I thought they left a lot of meat on the bone, which speaks to your point about the Babyface promo and how rushed that felt. There's just a lot of gaps in between when we saw John Cena and when we should have seen him. And so to me, the fact that we're going to be missing out on some key things is going to make that my number 4. I think the spacing of his dates has been really poor.
That's one that I wouldn't have even considered, but actually does make sense, especially the Gunther part of the equation.
Yeah.
You needed time to cut the big promo with Gunther. I agree with that completely. I like that. That's an interesting one. Here's someone he had time to do some promos with, Adonis. My number 4 worst thing of John Cena's 2025. Literally, my note just says, so much Logan Paul. So much. I'll be honest, I don't even know how much it was, but I know there was 2 matches, a tag and a singles, and there was promos too, and that's too much. There's too much Logan Paul. So, too much Logan Paul for me. Yeah, I'm not. It wasn't saying on my particular bucket list of John Cena retirement year. Did not need any Logan Paul, let alone 2 matches. Any Logan Paul representation on your list, Adonis? I'm intrigued.
That would have been my number 3. That's my number 3 on the worst. Is I wrote wasting a good portion of his year babysitting Logan Paul. That's what I wrote. Did you know, Joe, that up until this past Monday when he wrestled Dominic Mysterio, Logan Paul is the only person under the age of 20 that John Cena had wrestled that wasn't in the Rumble?
Wow.
The only person under the age of 30. Sorry, the only person under the age of 30 that he wrestled in this run. Which, look, some of the people he wrestled were his greatest rivals. You have to do those matches. It is fucking insane that you thought that John Cena's first program after being a babyface for the final time in his career was Logan Paul. It's unbelievable. And here's the thing, Joe. It's not over. There is a chance that on November 29th, John Cena will be in this War Games match that features Logan Paul. This may not be over.
It will never be over, as Dusty Rhodes said.
This is unbelievable. And this isn't in one of my segments, but since it mentions Logan Paul and you mentioned it, that Money in the Bank tag is fucking crazy. It is
it's still
bad.
going on. Did you know that? It's still going on.
Sources are saying Dave Meltzer's story is still going up for that one, folks. Yeah, that's my number 3. When I went into the year and I thought, people were, Joe, I don't know if you remember this, before the Cena Cody thing became clear for WrestleMania, there were people that were doing the Logan Paul roulette wheel. They're like, which top guy is going to be stuck with Logan? Yeah. And Cena was one of the names. When Cena didn't get, tagged with Logan, I was like, all right, guys, we're in the clear. And then August rolled around and he interrupted him. And I was like, oh my fuck. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I can't believe you're going to look on the cage match of John Cena's 2025 and Logan Paul will be on there technically 5 times. The Rumble, the Chamber, the Money in the Bank tag, the Money in the Bank tag, Clash in Paris, and potentially War Games. 5 times.
It's a lot of Logan Paul, brother. Now, this kind of increased the mood a little bit. What would be your next best Cena thing? Where are you at next?
So my number 3 is going to be the Netflix debut promo, which I thought was easily the best thing on that show. I thought his promo, that is probably still my favorite promo of his run this year. I thought it was an incredible spin on this idea of John Cena being old. The entire premise of this year for John Cena is a guy who believes that he lost a step and that he needs to leave. He needs to leave the business. And the way that he spun it in that arena was he did the whole thing where he was like, guys, I just don't think I can be a world champion again. And then he goes, but wait, what if I enter the Royal Rumble? And the crowd erupts. They are so excited that he seemingly believes in himself again. And then he goes, well, what if I just win the Royal Rumble? And he does the whole thing where he's talking about, if you want some, come get some. He throws the mic. He does the 3. And Joe, I love this promo because it reminded me of classic Cena promos when he'd wrestle guys like Umaga and Batista and Brock Lesnar before he was current day Brock Lesnar, where he would sell it as it's a battle that he shouldn't win, but he's going to enter anyway because he doesn't know any other way. Yeah. So even in the face of Father Time, even in the face of the reality of his physical ability, he's going to give it his best shot. He's going to enter this Rumble. But by life or death, he is going to win this match because he's literally says in the promo, I promise you guys, I am going to win the Royal Rumble and I'm going to main event WrestleMania and I'm going to win the world title. It is an unbelievable promo. It's legit like a 3-minute promo. If you guys have never heard it, I cannot recommend it enough. It's I think that Netflix debut show is legitimately all-time abysmal. That is my one bright spot. I think that promo is incredible. That'd be my number 3.
So I am not. It's not my list, but I actually have got to say that is a great call. I'd forgotten how good it was because you're right. It's the only good thing on the show, pretty much.
Yes,
or at least the best thing on the show. It's a classical Cena promo in a fashion that he almost didn't replicate for the remainder of the year. If we're being real, right? He actually was like John Cena in that segment. Truly John Cena.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I like that pick a lot.
Show.
I like that pick a lot. I think my next pick is going to be in your top 5 also. It may even be another one of those ones that we have to save for later, I got a feeling. I have the Cody Rhodes rematch in at 3 on my personal list.
Wow. I didn't know you were that high on it. Okay.
So here's the thing.
Elaborate.
It's big. It's loud. It's kind of dumb. It does a lot. It goes very long. However, it is a match with undeniable charm, personality, and honor. In that, it is a match in which John Cena, probably for the first time all year, if we're being real, wrestles like he doesn't care about tomorrow. Like he just goes out there and wrestles. He does some stupid shit that he definitely shouldn't be doing at his age, at his point in his life.
Yeah.
Because he's a babyface, is able to be like free again and just express himself, which is I'm not as big a Cena guy as you, obviously, but my favorite thing about John Cena at his best is when he just feels like he's feeling it and he's going on instinct. That's what I love about John Cena.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
This match captured that, even though it was heavy on set pieces and had these big booming moments and elements. I found it to be a pretty powerful piece of business, to be honest. I know you had obviously a very personal experience with it, but I did find it moving, the idea that John Cena went out there with the notion of like, this is going to be my last WWE title match. I'm going to do whatever I possibly can to make sure it's a classic, and more specifically, redeem, what the finish of the Mania match did, which I'll talk about more in a moment probably, but
yes.
Yeah, I think I like the AJ match more, but I rank this higher because I thought that was actually like a classic moment for the John Cena story that he put over the new face of the company in a big epic match where he left it all in the ring. I thought it's very, very charming. The SummerSlam main event is in at my 3 seed, Adonis.
See, all right, we'll do this now. So my number, this coincides with my number 2, this and the AJ, because my number 2 best thing about John Cena this year are the matches, Joe. The matches. Now, there are obvious exceptions, which we'll get to in a little bit. However, I have been, for anybody that knows me, the high man on a lot of John Cena's actual in-ring work this year. Okay?
You have. You certainly have.
I am the biggest defender.
Very high.
Very high, folks. Very high. Go look at my Cena thread on Twitter, cheap plug, and you'll see my ratings for these things, folks. And I still stand by it to this day. I think the Chamber match is actively bad until John Cena enters this match. I almost feel like it's kind of like a bit if I describe it to people because I've talked about this rivalry enough. But Joe, I'm sure because you were watching it too, the energy for which John Cena and CM Punk bring to this match when they enter that thing and they just do their thing for 5-6 minutes. It's like, it almost feels like it's a completely different match. That match, people don't actually remember how boring the first half of it is until they enter. I thought that was a great showing. I thought Cena was actually quite good in the Rumble. He didn't get to do a lot, but I thought he was quite good in the Rumble. Folks, we'll lay it all on the table. I give the Mania 41 match with Cody Rhodes 4 1/4. I stand by it to this day. I've rewatched it 3 times since. Stand by it. We're on productions. We're shooting from the hip. 4 1/4. I think that John Cena is actively fantastic in that match as like this guy who like understands that he's John Cena, but also has to kind of be a new version of John Cena. I thought slowing down his comeback was just a great bit of business. The finish is the finish. Whatever. But like the actual work of the match, I thought it was a very well-paced, classical title match. And I'll be honest, folks, I think Cody Rhodes has been quite bad this year. So that match kind of stands out to me as like a good little shining light. Joe really hates for this one. He wrestled Randy Orton in St. Louis, folks, a pairing that historically has not gotten a lot of love. I think that match is actively, especially for their standards and for where they both are, an achievement, folks, an achievement. I really adore that match. It's two old guys, and for anybody that has seen any Randy Orton interview since 2022, he has been begging to wrestle John Cena for 3 years now, and he wrestles like it. There's just such a nice charm to it. It's two. Calling them friends is kind of a stretch. I obviously don't know these guys, but just for lack of a better term, two buddies going out there in front of a hot St. Louis crowd, just kind of doing their thing. What does he do after that? He does the R-Truth squash at Saturday Night's Main Event, which guys, it's 4 minutes long. It's harmless. I mean, should he have done it? Probably not, but it's harmless. John Cena has a really sick lariat in that match. Money in the Bank tag didn't happen. It was AI. Never happened. The SummerSlam match, which Joe just mentioned, I was there for that. So I do have a very personal experience with that match. When I wrote about it about the day after, and I said it was an old gunslinger. Actually, this is the exact quote I use. It's one of my favorite quotes. I'll never be as good as I was, but once I could be as good as I ever was. That was John Cena on that night. He may never be as good as he was in 2007 or 2015, but for one night, it felt like the guy did a code red on the floor. He took a pile driver. He fucking like Joe said, he's the most animated he had been all year. He did the Cody Vader spot, which is fucking ridiculous. He does the face he makes after he hits the code red. It's John Cena to a T. It's one of those matches that when we think about the 2025 year, and honestly, in the scope of his career, honestly, it's going to be one of his defining performances. A sort of you can't really make good on some things, but I felt like that was a pretty good, like, hey guys, I'm still in here somehow. The Logan Paul match itself, I can't even believe I'm going to say this. It's actually not even bad. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. I think that there are people that think it's the best match of the run. I think you're out of your mind. But I think it was a genuine. Logan Paul is such a, to me, soulless wrestler. He doesn't get the in-between stuff. And that's where a veteran like John Cena, who understands the sort of tiny moments where you have to wait in between moves. You have to let the crowd feed off things. I thought he understood that very well. He kind of reeled Logan in however you can do that. So I thought that match was quite an achievement in itself. The Sami Zayn TV match, I think, is awesome. I think it's really cool that Sami Zayn gets to say he was John Cena's last SmackDown match. I thought that match is incredible and a great way to kind of make up their 2015 match. It got cut short because Sami Zayn got injured. Great selling in that match, too. They do a punching exchange where they both stagger like old men, and it's really, really nice. The WrestlePalooza match, did not watch. Swear to God, not doing a bit. Have no idea at all. I just know that people didn't like it, so I'll take their word for it. But I know a match that Joe just brought up, the AJ Styles match. That match to me, I actually, Joe, I don't think I've ever told you this. I rewatched that after the Grinalong, and I shed a tear or two. Legitimately, it actually got me because it speaks to a human idea of nothing is forever. And you're watching two guys who are at the end of their runs, who are meeting each other at a time where, let's be honest, I had given up on that match ever happening. It never felt like they cared to give AJ that type of shine again. And so to see how much, and I mean, John, you mentioned the intro that Cena gives for them to read off for AJ, and the Bray Wyatt moment, the stuff where he referenced Christopher Daniels, who has UPW history with John Cena, and Samoa Joe, and they actually chanted Joe in Australia. The sea of yellow shirts for John Cena in the crowd, an incredible visual. That match really, I'm going to tear up thinking about it now. It's just an unbelievable for a pairing that I think, you talk about dream matches often in wrestling, they don't always hit, but those two I always thought really met. And then lastly, the Dom Mysterio match, I think it was, very funny match to talk about, very minimalistic, but an example of what you can do when you're over. Do they always land their shots? Up for debate.
Incredible reaction on the finish, though. Incredible reaction.
Oh my God, dude! It's one of the best. It's one of the best reactions of his career. One of the best reactions of his career. Yeah. So I really liked it, and it was one of my personal 4 matches that I really wanted to see John Cena have this year. So I was just glad it happened. But I talked a lot in the same, but I knew that when you brought it up, I knew that I had that as my number 2 was most of his matches, because as I've expressed in multiple different platforms. I think his actual in-ring work this year, with a few exceptions, has actually been quite strong. So that would be my number 2, is the overall match catalog.
I mean, I think it makes sense that be your approach, because otherwise your list would just be, you'd be giving me your 9th best thing, and it'd be like the Orton match in at 7. Like, it makes sense. You just kind of go.
Yeah, I just lumped them in.
Well, my 3rd worst thing in Cena's 2025 is a direct mirror to my 3rd best. I put over the Cena Cody rematch. Here's the thing. We actually don't disagree that much on the WrestleMania Vegas match as a match. I think there are good ideas in there, and I actually do agree Cena's performance in the first half is underrated because of what follows. However, what follows still follows. Around halfway through that match, which is building very nicely and is a conventional main event, they begin to just trade finishes. And I was in the building for that, remember? Which is a very different experience than you had in the building for the rematch. And I went, oh God, they're doing the finishes thing. And then, and this is how it's listed here, my 3rd worst simply just says Fiend. Because I was in the building, and I will never forget how long it took that fella to walk down the stage, and how long Fiend played, and how much time Cena had to kill, and how poorly executed the finish was from that point forward. And the reason it's so high is bad finishes happen, stupid finishes happen. We will never get back Cena's last WrestleMania match. We will never get back Cena's last world title win. And the fact it will always have this, for me personally, even though I'm not a Cena guy, I think is like unforgivably bad. I can't believe they did that. I find it funny, admittedly, which is why it isn't my number 1, but if I just take off the part of it that's hilarious and I think about it like level-headed, it's just terrible. Like, how did they do that to a match that was building decently enough? Again, we're not actually even that far apart on the quality of the first half. Fiend, brother. I mean, I get what you liked at the match, but I just can't shake Fiend.
Now, this is a follow-up question to that. Did you think Dwayne was involved? When you heard Travis, did you think Dwayne was involved in that? Like, did you think he was coming out after?
I had never expected, ever, Dwayne, until Travis took so long that I was like, all right, it has to be Dwayne, because he wouldn't be walking this slow otherwise. And there was no Dwayne. Which was funny, admittedly, because my brother, whose favorite wrestler is The Rock, was just so mad when it was all over. So angry. And
was he yelling like, Dwayne's going to be here? Dwayne's going to be here.
Dude, he was locked in. He was on his feet, ready to go. It was glorious. So Fiend takes my 3rd seed here on the bad side of things.
Yes.
I'm going to keep it rolling. I'm going to stick on this side of the fence, because I feel like there's going to be some crossover here. The entire mini Brock Lesnar arc, which was, to be clear, for anyone keeping score of what the arc was, Brock Lesnar showed up at SummerSlam, killed John Cena, and then beat him in a wrestling match. Now, look, we don't need to get into all the other reasons this is an unfortunate thing that happened.
Yeah.
If we just talk about it as a wrestling thing, it was literally like a one-beat story. Now, we both think there's a chance there's some War Games business. Maybe. But let's be honest. I mean, that's, why did they waste one of Cena's last matches on a squash for a guy whose value at this point has been, it's not going to get any higher, right? It was a rerun of one of the great 2010s triumphs in Cena getting killed by Lesnar. But I found it bizarre that it happened. I still don't get what they were trying to achieve with it, even beyond the surrounding factors. My 2 seed on the worst side is the Brock Lesnar match and whole idea, basically.
Joe, we actually have this in the same spot. This was actually my number 2 as well for the worst thing. Yes, this was my number 2. In my notes, I have it, the Brock Lesnar kerfuffle. That's what I called it, the Brock Lesnar kerfuffle. Folks, I'm gonna give you guys an anecdote, okay? So like I mentioned, I was at SummerSlam, okay? Now, there's a video that I'm calling the Lost video, which is the initial video I took, because you guys don't remember, John Cena, after the Cody Rhodes match, is just taking in the love of the fans, okay? He's just standing there. He's saying, he literally mouths, I can't do any better than that. He legit says that. He says, I can't do any better than that. And as he's walking out, I'm recording the video. We're all chanting, thank you, Cena. Folks, that guitar riff hits. My phone falls to the floor. I don't pick it up for 5 minutes after. I legitimately, my section is losing their mind. I could not fathom that this is what they did. I thought it was a rib. I thought it was being ribbed. I thought that John Cena in real time was getting
Adonis
ribbed.
rib.
I was
gonna say,
yeah, I was like,
rib on you.
Yeah, I was like, no, not on me. They don't know who the fuck I am. But I legitimately believe that somebody had like done the the William Regal, such a man, but to John Cena with Brock Lesnar's music. And then he came out. And my first thought was, holy like, he was there. And I legitimately just thought he was going to tear something. He looked fucking awful. He legit looked like if he got in the ring, he was going to tear his quad. And then he F5's John Cena. And then what people don't remember is the rest of the build is one of the worst segments of all time with R-Truth. And then he just F5's John Cena again to interrupt the Cena-Sami Zayn match. And then he beats him. He beat him. Now, again, folks, I cannot stress this enough. This is not a bit. I have not seen this match. It is the one John Cena match I've not seen all year. Okay, which tells you a lot because I sat through Logan Paul fucking 4 times. Okay, it tells you a lot. But legitimately, I go on Twitter and I just see Brock Lesnar defeats John Cena, and I was like, what? And so here's the thing, Joe, and you brought it up. Even separate of like the real life, obviously more important issues because obviously wrestling is secondary to the actual issues surrounding Brock Lesnar. Just in a wrestling context, you already did this 11 years ago when Brock Lesnar was good. Like he was also like
a real attraction too, right? Like it's
yes. Not only that, you're trying to repeat a feud that like I think here's the thing. I like pretty much every Cena Lesnar match that I've seen, but like I feel like this historical significance of this feud is wildly overblown. I don't like they do the Backlash match in 2003, which like I don't even know if people remember happened. There's the Extreme Rules match that I think is one of the best matches of all time, but then that's their only match for 2 years. Then they wrestled twice in 2014, and that's it. Like this did not like, legitimately. When you look at this year. There are going to be people that forget that this happened. It's like a blip in like the radar of the year. There was no need for it. There was no effect to it either.
He walked off really sad after the match, and then he just came back to wrestle AJ Styles. There was no like, there was no story to it. Yeah, it was weird, bizarre.
No, it was terrible. That's my number 2 as well.
Now my best slot on the number 2. I'm doing this here because it's a natural transition. You'll get why I'm jumping a little ahead. It's the Sami Zayn match. Is my number 2 best thing, and the reason it's a natural, natural partner. Because obviously the finish is, of course, spoiled by Brock's presence. But to me, that match is the most, kind of, I guess symbolically, spiritually is the word I'm looking for. That is the most John Cena match spiritually I think he had in his final year, in the sense that there was a lot of big, loud matches because it was a retirement tour. That really felt like him just going out there and riffing with a guy who's obviously great, and Sami Zayn. Hot crowd, fun atmosphere. It felt like he was just expressing himself in a way that, yes, the Cody match had, but the Cody match also had this sense of like, we must have a great match. I didn't get any of that with the Sami Zayn match. I got the sense they were just 2 guys just having the time of their lives wrestling in front of a hot crowd. And it was, again, I mentioned it earlier, there's a lot of overlap. Like, I love John Cena when he's been instinctive and he's just working with the people. To me, that match was the finest example. I just loved that whole vibe and feel, which again makes the finish hilarious. I get that. But yeah, I thought that match was wonderful, and it to me was the most familiar or most reminiscent of Cena's like prior outings to me. It felt like the John Cena that wasn't playing John Cena, that actually was John Cena, if that makes any sense. That's my number 2 best moment.
I have to just say, Joe, because you brought up the crowd. I have to mention this one spot where the crowd, because he's doing like the pop-up powerbomb and stuff, the crowd starts chanting RKO, and you can literally see John slither over to Sammy and go, all right, we're teasing the RKO now. Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's fun, man. The guy's just enjoying it, right? So
I'm really happy Sammy has that. Legit. He deserves it. He's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, he had a great year, obviously. What is your worst thing of John Cena's 2025?
Folks, I've been the high guy all day, all year. Will be forever. However, my number 1, and I wrote this in all caps, how badly they fucked up his heel run. Legitimately, that's what I wrote. How bad. Folks, the week-to-week execution of the John Cena heel turn was legitimately one of the most baffling things I've ever seen in my life. So, for starters, the promos are good because John Cena can deliver things well if he's not doing cartoon voices. but they took the stance of John Cena against the fans in the time where the fans have loved him more than ever before. He legitimately hated the people that love him now more than ever. And like, in a sense, it makes sense that he's still like resentful of how much they hated him despite all he did. But like, dude, you're done in 12 months. What are they going why are you getting this out now? Why, when the real approach that they could have taken is this desperate old man who knows that he can't hang unless he resorts to these tactics to give him an edge in these matches. And they like the only times they ever told that are hilariously, Joe, in some of the finishes to these matches where he wins the match because he kicked the guy in the nuts and took advantage. Like, that's like the only time they ever tell that story. And it's not even that, it's just him doing a move. It's unbelievable. And then it's just, dude, it's baffling. It's part of his promo work is putting over how Logan Paul's the future of pro wrestling, which in itself is inherently incorrect. That's just this is just wrong. I don't care that he's a heel. Like, no, it's not good. Bad writing. And then to make matters worse, to make matters even, like, it bleeds over into the finish. Like you said, Joe, the finishes of his matches, every finish of his pay-per-view matches are like if I recounted every heel John Cena pay-per-view finish, you'd think I'm lying. You would think I'm making this up. It's baffling. It is legitimately one of the biggest creative blunders of maybe in company history when you consider the magnitude of the heel turn. And it will be a defining, I've said it all year, John Cena has been a great smokescreen for the actual issues that have faced the WWE in 2025 as a wrestling product in terms of the interest and numbers that he's driven. It will be a forever blunder and blemish on the record of this creative regime, how they handled this heel run. Forever. It'll forever be part of their DNA makeup. When we talk about this era of this company, how they handled the heel run is going to go down for them. That's easily the worst thing that's happened all year, by far.
Yeah, we're on the same page here. My phrasing is slightly different, but we're on the same page. Mine is the reasoning for the heel turn. People have spent years wanting a John Cena heel turn. The promo material being as basic as it was, and as just like cookie cutter and almost creator wrestler as it was, storyline mode as it was, was just terribly disappointing. We agree completely on what the alternative could have been in terms of this kind of more complex character. Instead, it felt like so hurried in the way that it was handled. His execution, his delivery is generally going to be good, but there was so little to sink your teeth into from a character point of view. Yes, it absolutely hurt to finish these matches too. You just don't do a John Cena heel turn and like, we'll figure it out later. That's a huge thing to do. You don't do it without serious reason to do so and serious content to go behind it and material to go with it. I was baffled by how bland the character was, even beyond, we like the presentation and some of the elements, but there was just nothing there. It was just John Cena playing the role of a heel for a few months before going, this is bad, isn't it? I'll flip out of it now. And that we're on the same page. We're on the complete same page. So with that in mind, I'm going to jump to my best, and I'll let you close it out here because my best is a hilarious partner to my worst. My best is the angle itself, Elimination Chamber. Because even though I do think conceptually it was probably flawed to begin with because like no one wanted to boo John Cena, I will always stand by the chamber itself was an incredible piece of business. And I will pair with that his performance in the match, which you noted earlier was terrific. It was the best John Cena performance in years in ring, if we're being honest. Look, man, the turn sucked. Everything that came out of it sucked pretty much. The Rock angle and the reaction to it was incredible. It's easy to forget now that the response at the time was, is this bigger and better than Hogan? Which, like, obviously aged hilariously, but it tells you how well the angle was done. I love the way it was executed. Rock's presence added so much. Cena being like a soldier, forced to do this act that you couldn't fathom him doing, throwing in these punches, being vicious. Travis Scott was there. It was awesome, dude. I think it's an all-time great angle, which makes the follow-up even funnier, really. Or funny is generous. It makes it way more damning, if we're being honest. But That's where I'm closing out. The heel turn itself and the night at the Chamber. That's where I'm at. What is your best thing of John Cena's 2025?
Joe, the best thing that's happened all year. This is the funniest way to end this. The heel turn at the Elimination Chamber. I mean, like, I legitimately called this the best angle in WWE history. Do I believe that now? In my heart, maybe. I don't know. I'm a stupid man sometimes. But like in the moment, right? Because here's the thing: all week, Rock does the weird thing where he comes back out of the blue in New Orleans, which is a hilarious segment now in retrospect that WrestleMania is not happening in New Orleans, but that's neither here nor there. Dwayne's a funny man. But he's doing the whole thing about I want your soul, and everyone's like, well, is Cody really going to turn? Is it going to be Punk? Is it going to be Drew? People were throwing out John Cena's name, but it was never like, nobody really believed that they were going to turn John Cena heel in his last year. And he turned heel in his last year. And like, it is one of the more, the angle itself, what the execution sucked, but like the actual angle itself is one of the more creatively bold things they've ever done, because it's an incredible risk, which obviously we found out hilariously did not pay off. But in the moment, it is an incredible risk to take this known entity who people love, who people just want to see play the hits in his final year, to turn him into this. I mean, dude, his facial expressions in this segment, in this angle, are absolutely incredible. He legitimately looks devoid of life. All the jokes about how he's a corporate robot and a cyborg legitimately came true on this night. He looked soulless. He stood there. He held the belt haphazardly. He looked like he didn't even care to be there. The Rock doing the whole, and he does the thing, and it's just, and he does the hug, and he kicks him, and Cody's bleeding, and he hits him with the watch, and he's like, and it's just, the crowd is listen, they're gonna play that angle in video packages forever. They may never talk about what happened after. They may legitimately just pretend that he turned heel, and the SmackDown promo happened, and he was good again, like he woke up from a bad dream. That may be how they edit this year, which it might have been a bad dream for all I know. It could have been. But on March 1st, 2025, John Cena turned heel, and Joe, legitimately, I wrote, I think, a like 12 paragraph thing that I uploaded about how this was like the best thing they've ever done, the different directions they could take this in. How I literally tied it into one of the lyrics on My Time Is Now, the song he's used as a babyface for 20 years. That meant nothing. It is still one of the best angles they've ever done. Everybody's performance in that was incredible. Travis Scott was like doing sage rituals in the background or whatever he was doing. He busted Cody's eardrum. We're going to listen. We will remember that. That is one of those moments you will remember where you were when John Cena turned heel. For better or worse, I thought the angle was incredible. We're in agreement. It's the highlight of his year, and that was my number one for John Cena's 2025.
I love that as different as our perspectives are on this, there's actually a ton of overlap, and we're on the exact same page when it comes to best and worst. That's pretty cool. So
they made it very easy for us, Joe. Let me tell you.
They did. They made it very easy. And with that in mind, I hope they make it easy for you at the Garden, brother. Enjoy your trip to MSG.
Salute. I'll see you folks on the other side.
Yes! Shoulder tackle! Shoulder tackle! Hit him, dusted off the shoulder!
Well, Adonis, it is now Monday night, or for me, Tuesday morning. It is at 5:42 a.m. here. What is the time for yourself, brother?
It is 12:42. So I guess it's technically Tuesday morning for the both of us, technically.
There you
I don't
go.
know how time works.
Yep, you are fresh, back from the Garden, an eventful night at MSG. You and I have spent the last 10 minutes before recording talking about Dolph Ziggler, but that is not our topic for this particular recording. Tell me, how was the Garden, and more specifically, how was your final time seeing John Cena?
Folks, I'll start this off with an anecdote. So Cena's last words on Raw were, Monday Night Raw, that's all she wrote, love you, and he left. I have that video on my phone as he says that. That video goes from me yelling extensively to dead silence. I kid you not, I started crying. I went alone to the show. I didn't go with anybody. It was just me by my lonesome. I fucking bawled because they do the thing on the screen where they show the guys and then it just goes back to the Raw logo. And in that moment, I realized that was it. That was it. The last time was truly now. And that kind of sums up my whole experience. The whole day, I kind of had like knots in my stomach and like in a good way, because I was like, okay, well, you know what? They're doing all this. The last time is now promotion, but like the time is not now. Like I still have a few hours. Yeah. And then I was getting in the venue. And it took me like 45 minutes to get in the venue. The line was across the thing. And then I got in the building and I had one mission. John Cena merch, folks. Okay. This was the completion. In this bag, you guys are getting a free haul, folks. $155 is what I spent on this. This is part of the experience. I have to cover this, folks.
You had to do
First,
it. You had to do it.
You got the John Cena auto. Okay.
Oh,
these are the things that he signs like a cyborg. What else is in this fucking goodie bag? We have the wristbands. Okay. The wristbands. Will I ever wear those? Probably not, but I have the wristbands. We have the hat, which I will actually wear this hat. Now that my hair can fit a hat, I will actually wear this hat. And then, of course, as the other two back there, you have to get another one. I almost said it upside down. The last time is now, folks. I almost said it upside down. $155.
With that much stuff, I mean, yeah, you know, I would have guessed worse. I would have guessed more, to be honest. So
I got paid on Friday, okay, and I told myself I'm doing it. Listen, these are the things we play, and so I got to my seat about 7:30, so I had about 30 minutes to kill. They decided that the best way to kill time was put Otis and Rusev on for 9 minutes, which was hilarious, and then it was time for the show, and then they did the video package, which for some reason starts off with Triple H and not John Cena, but alas, what can you do? This is the magic of editing. And then they do the thing where everyone starts chanting Cena. We all start realizing, and then that fucking trumpet hits.
Push them out like cool game. So, let's go to work. Yeah!
And I cannot begin to tell you, if I try to recall you how I felt in the moment seeing him walk out, I almost got very mad because the guy put his arm in my face and I couldn't see. I almost yelled at a poor old man who had nothing to do with this. If you're seeing this, I'm sorry. You just really annoyed me. But then he came out and and the thing that really gets me is when he started talking to Stu. I couldn't hear a word he said. I don't know what he said to Stu. But there's something about the fact that he's the only guy that talks to the fucking camera that just got me. And then he did the rung to the ring. He did his thing, and then he does the thing. He's like, cut it off. I just want to hear people chant. And I kid you not, Joe, I think it was about 4.5 minutes before he actually said something. I think we just started fucking furiously chanting for 4.5 minutes. He's on the verge of tears. He's doing the thing where he's like, all right, I'm going to do it now. Do the intro. And he do the intro, and everyone's saying the words, and he's standing there, he's saluting people, he's tearing up, and I was just like, my God. There was a lady behind me that goes, guys, John Cena's right there. And in my head, I was like, he is. You can see him. He's right there. And I thought about it because I think I told you this, shows that I found the video 2 nights ago of my first ever live wrestling show, which was December 26, 2014. I saw John Cena at Madison Square Garden as a Christmas gift. That was 11 years ago. And 11 years later, here I am, getting to see him again. And the promo itself, I mean, he just kind of did like the thank you thing. He didn't really get to say much before Dom came out. Yeah, and then like he didn't really get to say much. But the cool thing for me with these promos, especially tonight, was you could just tell how much it meant to him to sort of be, God, I'm gonna tear up again. It meant a lot that he got to just be at the Garden. And he did the thing that I thought was really cool where when he was making his entrance, he looked behind and he saw all the people that were above. Like, it was over 8,000 people. And I'm not a numbers guy because I don't make any money from these promotions, so I don't really care.
It's only fitting, Adonis, that as we talk about your last time just seeing John Cena, there's complications. There's been a lot of complications with John Cena's last year, as we discussed in the prior segment. So, fitting. But you were saying it meant a lot for him to be at the Garden.
Yeah.
Dom interrupted. Things escalated from there, fair to say.
Yes, they escalated very quickly. for the first time in like 7 months, Dom Mysterio actually felt like a heel, which was nice. These people fucking hated him. They were very mad to see him interrupt John Cena's last day. I was very, very happy to get to boo him again and not feel like an outlier because everyone likes to sing a song. And then we get to the obvious beat down the angle and the match. I will say that there were a few people that had no idea that was Sheamus' song, which is quite unfortunate, quite sad, to be honest with you. The actual match, okay, so I had been all week posting a bunch of random pictures of him and CM Punk as like a form of manifestation, which is to say, folks, don't manifest things, you'll be disappointed. However, I will say that if there's any type of match to encapsulate this last couple months of John Cena's career, a party all-star tag match was legitimately, now obviously I'm biased because I was there. That is the perfect match for the house. Those people were there to see John Cena play the hits. And for me, it was really cool that this is his way of getting Ray and Sheamus involved in the tour so that they can say that they were involved in his last match. I don't really care what it does for JD McDonough, to be honest with you. Finn is cool. I like Finn. He's a little, Dom is, I think we mentioned this earlier, that Dom is actually, up until, besides Logan Paul, the only under 30 person John Cena has wrestled all year. So at least they picked somebody good, right. The stadium rematch will be interesting. I think that they're going to get more time, and I wonder how that crowd will be because obviously it's Dom's hometown. But the match itself, I honestly, like, this is one of those moments where I kind of just put my phone down and just kind of like existed in the moment. I just like sat there and I was just so like, I don't know, joyful, vibrant. I was just so happy. I mean, like the obvious thing is, it's building the Cena hot tag. And if you contextualize all this, that is his last ever hot tag. He doesn't get another one. And so like these people and me, I was just sitting there and Ray was getting his ass kicked. And I'm just yelling, legitimately, I'm yelling, you gotta make the tag. You gotta. Obviously, this guy can't hear me. I'm fucking all the way over there. I'm fucking yelling at Rey Mysterio. I'm yelling, make the tag. And Cena's doing his classic Cena animation where he's running around like he's on caffeine and he's doing his thing. And the visceral emotion that came over me when he got tagged in and he started doing the fucking shoulder tackles and the powerbomb and he did I just felt like a kid, man. I sat there and I just was like, I don't want this moment to end. And then they do the cool thing where they do the as I called it in the arena. I have a video of this. I called it the 15 knuckle shuffle because it was all three of them. Mm-hmm. People caught on. This is very funny. When they did the "You Can't See Me," I said, "What if it's you can't see us?" Because it's multiple people, And
you're on fire,
dude. I was bits galore, dude. I was fucking cursing. The people next to me had two little ones. I was having a ball. Let me tell you, unbelievable. They started. I started the "fuck you, Dom" chant in my section. Should I have done that in front of two kids? Probably not, but I did. It was unbelievable.
It was the garden, bro. It is what it is.
It was the magic of the garden, and man, like. We mentioned it a lot with these like post heel turn Cena matches, but that dude is having so much fucking fun, man. It almost like retroactively just makes everything they've done in the first 7 months of this even fucking worse. That they didn't just let this guy have fun. Like, why did he have to stand there and do this like cyborg robotic why? Bro, nobody the idea that people want to boo John Cena is fucking ludicrous to me. Ludicrous. I remember this at the beginning of the show because Cena had a tweet. He's like, I want to hear "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants one more time. And so there were a few people that were doing it in his honor and they got booed out. The Cena sucks chants got booed out. Nobody wants to say that, even in jest. Nobody wants to say these things. We all love John Cena. He had a fucking blast. It was a party match. And honestly, I know that there were qualms made. I actually haven't read much so I don't know what people really thought about it. I thought it was one of the best matches of the entire tour. I thought it accomplished exactly what it needed to. It got people involved in the Cena retirement tour that otherwise wouldn't have. Because, I mean, let's be honest. At the beginning of the year, did you think Sheamus was going to get some fucking John? No, of course not. Right? It's not like it's a big feud for Sheamus's career, but it's not really a big feud in the career of John Cena. And, I mean, neither is Rey Mysterio, really. They tagged a bunch when he started out. But to me, it felt like a really cool way for John to get his friends involved and get the Garden involved. And I mean, it was among the loudest a crowd has ever been for anything I've ever been a part of. It is probably the coolest thing I've ever witnessed just because of how electric it was. I mean, like, I think we were pretty hot for the rest of the show, but there is a very noticeable dip in energy when Cena walked. Because here's another funny tidbit that has to do with Cena. At the end of the show, the post-match, the like go home promo to send people home happy was Punk and Cody just kind of putting over John Cena. And everybody is literally like, is he going to come out again? And they're just like, he probably left the building. Yeah. Let's play his song again. And everybody, and in all my live wrestling shows, people usually just leave as soon as the credits roll. Nobody left. When they played John Cena's song, they played it twice through. Everybody stayed to sing it twice, which I thought was just really fucking cool. I thought that they did a really good job of making it a big deal. For me personally, I think I told people when they announced the Garden show that I was perfectly okay with SummerSlam being the last time I saw him, just because I mean, like, how many more performances like that were you ever going to get out of him? Yeah, I can confidently say I would have kicked myself if I didn't go to the show. I am incredibly happy. It's a full circle moment for me. Nearly 11 years today that I saw him for the first time at MSG. I mean, and obviously an added bonus, I mean, getting to see Rey Mysterio. How many more times are you going to see Rey Mysterio wrestle at MSG? Well, that's a really cool thing. And, you know, there's a lot of finals here. I think that people, it's not just his final Raw or his final TV or MSG or New York. I mean, it's his final tag match. It's his final hot tag. It's his final TV as a champion. He'll never be on TV as a champion. There's a lot of finality here. And I think that was really when I was walking out of the building and I was just kind of sitting there and I had my bag in hand and I was walking home. It didn't really hit me until I got off the bus and I was walking to my house that, like, that was it. Like, because one of my things with especially seeing him live, that I've been very lucky to see him 3 times this year, is every single time after I left, it hit me like that's one less, you know? And I think there's been a lot of wrestling retirements in the last like year and a half. There's going to be a lot more next year, obviously. And the one takeaway, and especially I think with John, especially with how adamant he's been that like he's just not going to do this again, there is something to be said for the level of appreciation that comes with knowing something's going to end, because it really felt like there were people there. There was a guy actually in front of me who was talking, and he was telling me how like his parents like never took him to a wrestling show. So it was actually the first time he'd ever been to a wrestling show, and he came because he wanted to see John Cena for the last time that he could. And I think it's just stuff like that. That's just like, I mean, dude, like I'm a spoiled son of a bitch. This is my 4th time ever in my life seeing John Cena. And there are people that like, if they didn't go to this show tonight, they're never going to get to see him, you know? And if there's people that don't go to Survivor Series or Washington, D.C., they're never going to get to see him again. And it really, honestly, my one big word that I could use for this experience, I was just grateful, man. I just was really thankful. Life has been kind of kicking my ass lately. Work has been really stressful and trying to figure out certain things that I want to do heading into the new year and different things that I'm hearing from different voices in my life. But I want to say it was about 45 minutes between his entrance, the match, and the post-match. I got to just forget that was a thing. I got to see my favorite wrestler. I know that 8-year-old kid that dressed up as him as Halloween is still living in me somewhere. I know that 9-year-old kid that saw him in 2014 is still there. Hell, I know that the guy that saw him on August 3rd a couple months ago is still in here somewhere. And all those people were probably screaming, the 8-year-old probably more so, trying to rip the muscle suit off that he can't rip because it's a fucking plastic Party City costume. You know, the kid that took a bunch of AAs on trampolines in backyards when he was a kid and who took the Cena powerbomb on a park table. I don't know why I did that. My back still hurts from that. All those people got to see him. And I have that forever now. And one of the things that I've learned in the last like 2 years with some of the happenings in my life is that the only thing we ever get to truly keep are the things we remember and the memories we make. And I'll forever get to say that on November 17, 2025, I got to see John Cena's last match at Madison Square Garden. And I think it's one of the most historic wrestling venues, one of the most historic venues, period, for one of wrestling's. Listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I think the one thing we can all agree on is that he is one of wrestling's most important wrestlers, especially of this century, if nothing else. Yeah. And it is very poetic that his last TV was at MSG. I can also say that I cried a lot more walking to the train and walking to my house. I had to wipe a lot of tears before I joined the StreamYard here, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very emotional night for me. People have asked me, this is actually the most messages I've ever got in my life. People ask me all day, like, how did I feel? And I just, first of all, the internet at MSG fucking sucks. If anybody can hear me that works there, fix that shit. Fuck. It said MSG free Wi-Fi. I had to keep connecting and it wouldn't fucking work. I was like, guys, you're trying to fuck on me here. And the only thing I could come up with is I think that for how jaded I could be with it, wrestling is the best medium in the world. I wouldn't trade my love for it for anything else. And I think this was the perfect experience from the match to the promo, which again wasn't really that big of a promo, but it was just more of a thank you, to even just when he was walking back. I mean, him and Sheamus did the thing where they both carried Ray on their back because he's tiny, and it was very funny. It was very cool. And Ray had the Cena C on his pants, which I thought was really cool. And Cena also continued the tribute spot, John Cena era, with the beats of the Baron, which was very funny because he looked like he did not actually want to hit this guy in the chest, but he did it anyway. It's just, I try not to, like, it's weird because obviously you don't know these people. And, like, I mean, I've met John Cena, but I obviously don't know him. But there is something to be said for, it's just really cool to see wrestlers have fun. And it's very cool to see wrestlers at the tail end of their careers have fun. And that resonates, man. I don't think it's the best John Cena match I've seen live. It's probably my personal favorite just for everything it means. And I think that there are a lot of people that are going to be disappointed that it was a tag match, which I completely understand if you were thinking something else and if you wanted it to. But I think getting people involved, and again, I can speak for me because I got to be there. There are matches, and Joe, I think you can attest, you've been watching wrestling a long time. There are matches that are specifically designed for the house that they're in, I think. And I think that tonight people wanted to see John Cena play the hits, and he played the hits. It's apropos that his shirt is Yankees themed. He's been labeled the Babe Ruth of WWE by people who shall not be named, if you check their Twitter. I thought it was perfect. It's God, I'm gonna get all fucking sappy about it again. I don't know, man. You realized when it was over that, like, he's not coming back out, and that, like, he walked through that curtain and he saluted the camera, and that was it. And it was just, I've probably repeated myself 1,000 times. It's just fucking cool, man.
You're good, bro. I'm glad it went the way. I'm glad it went a way that was what you wanted. I know the punk match obviously was the thing we talked about and that you want, but, like, I think it did work out the way it needed to.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, like,
I'm glad you had a good time.
It was a lot. Listen, he'll never watch this video, but John Cena, thanks, dude.
You said a moment ago you're not sure John Cena will see this video. He may see the next video, though, because you're not done quite yet talking John Cena. Adonis, let's announce here our next project to close this thing out. The last time is fitting. John Cena, your kind of biggest tribute yet, really, to his career coming up. Tell the people about it, brother.
Yeah, so on May 11th, I was approached by our beloved Brainbuster for a project on LNG Productions, which is coming out, I can say, in the early stages of December, hopefully before his last match. Folks, I have ranked all 106 world title matches in the career of John Cena. And I didn't just rank them for fun. They're not just in a journal. No, they will soon be on your screens, whether it's this neat little cell phone or a computer or a tablet or a fucking Kindle, wherever you get your LNG fucking productions, in early December, this project will come out. Folks, I watched a lot of John Cena matches since May. Rice and Tope are fucking madmen. I think they locked themselves in fucking chambers to work on this. Joe has been incredibly helpful with the format and coming up with different ideas. And it is easily, and I can say this, I haven't seen, as of the time of this recording, it is now 1:11 a.m. my time. At the time of this recording, I have not seen the full video. I have seen snippets of it, and it is probably the thing I'm the most proud of that I've ever got to work on. It is an actual passion project. It is my way through LNG to get to say thank you to John Cena in a way that, there's going to be a lot of ranking of John Cena matches. There's going to be a lot of talk about John Cena, rightfully so. Like I said, one of the biggest stars of wrestling history. But I don't know if anybody else is going to talk about his world championship history. Moreover, I don't know if there is a person that likes John Cena more than me, for better or worse, which you can decipher if that's good or bad for yourself. That's totally fine. But I'm really excited. It's really cool, man. You guys are gonna really like it. Productions is closing out the year with a bang, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. I'm really happy to have gotten to do this video with Joe, which was an idea that I presented him about halfway through the process. For full transparency, when I first talked to Joe about the video itself, this is not to pat myself on the back, it's just to tell you guys how much of a maniac I am. I think within about 3 days, I told Joe, guys, all the audio has been recorded. In about 3 days, I just kind of sat in a room for like 6 hours and just recorded on a mic, which is to say that I poured a lot in this video. It's a lot of me yapping, but it's going to be very insightful. There's going to be a lot of matches that I'm sure you guys didn't even remember happened, which is one of my big things with the years. You forget how long John Cena has been wrestling. He says 23 years, and it really doesn't, it doesn't compute. But I think when you guys see 106 world title matches, it's going to really hit. Like I said, Rice and Tope are absolute maniacs. And if nothing else, their work is going to make it sound even better. I'm really glad I get to say this. I've been holding this in since fucking May. And if you guys can't tell, I love yapping. So this has been really hard. But I'm really excited. And I think everyone that has helped me on this is excited about it. So I hope you guys will like it. Like I said, I think we're shooting for the early stages of December. I don't want to commit to a date because I actually don't know. And we don't like to false advertise. And I'm not in the business of cards subject to change because I don't actually book the cards. I just get booked for them. So there you go. 106 John Cena world title matches. How many of them are bad? How many of them are fantastic? There's only one way to find out. LNG Productions in early December.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother. This was fun. And we have something to look forward to coming up in December. Thank you. Thanks for watching, folks. Please like the video and subscribe for more grins. To join us live almost daily, head to Late Night Grin, hitting the join button for exclusive watch-alongs, wrestling history lessons, and live Q&As. Keep grinning, folks. All how.